I haven't had a chance to truly tell my story.
This is the brand new story the world has never heard about a man nicknamed Master Bob, from Master Bob himself.
As far as my wife's death, I had absolutely nothing to do with it.
He's sitting in a prison outside Detroit, Michigan, convicted of hiring a hitman to kill his wife, Jane.
And I will say that until my last and dying breath.
Bring Mr. Bashara out.
Crime Watch Daily first brought you this scandalous trial that captivated the country. It included a sex dungeon, mistresses, and even his own daughter testifying about his sexuality.
He had been experiencing erectile dysfunction, and he wanted to know if the problem was with him or my mother.
Bob was accused of having his prim and proper wife taken out of the picture so he could satisfy his own twisted fantasies.
It would generally be a little spanking.
We've covered a lot of kinky people on this show, but what happened next shocked even us.
Hi.
Bear, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm as good as I can be, but thank you for asking.
One of our Crime Watch Daily investigative producers got a surprise call on her prison hotline from none other than Master Bob.
My concern is certainly just that the truth and justice be served and comes out.
We would like to just give you the chance to talk about your case because you reached out to me.
Bob says he wants to tell his side of the story. And if you think his sex life is wild, just listen to this.
That's all this case was about. My violation of the marital bed.
Bob tells our producer he had absolutely nothing to do with Jane's murder.
Who's ultimately responsible for your wife's murder?
Who is responsible? Joe Gens has admitted killing my wife. I did not hire him. I did not solicit him. I did not conspire with him.
Joe Gens, describe him for me.
Gentle giant. Easily persuaded, easily manipulated.
It was this testimony from Joe Gens, Bob's handyman turned hitman, that ultimately sent Master Bob away for life.
He pulls a gun on me and says, shut her up. They were arguing still. And he says, do it now. So I broke her neck. Yes, I'll be honest, I did do that.
Would you say Joe is a victim?
Some people are born to fail. And unfortunately, he was. Handicapped by not only his mental capabilities, but his social upbringing. Bob realized that and took advantage of that and began to groom him.
Do you feel bad for Joe Gens in any way at all?
We're all dealt a hand in the game of life. Many of us have high cards and many of us have low cards, but inevitably, it really doesn't matter. It's how you play the game.
Bob says he's a lover, not a killer.
I'm not a gun person. I'm a pacifist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Christian and a pacifist, and I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in guns. The guy was so filled with lies and that it's incredible.
And just when you thought this couldn't get any more absurd, Bob says he's sitting in jail because the Grosse Pointe Police Department had a bullseye on his back.
The police were so after me, so wanting to target me because of my stance on race.
Wait a minute, you're saying that the police charged you, they wanted to hold you responsible for your wife's murder because of your stance on race?
Yes.
Jane and Bob were living in swanky Grosse Pointe Park when Jane was murdered. Bob says he was renting low-income apartments he owned in the area, and the police didn't like some of his tenants who were Armenian and African American.
It's a thorn in their side because they don't want low-income communities in their city. Yeah. It's like Ferguson, Missouri, but a police officer didn't shoot anyone.
Police call Bob's allegations absurd. Now Master Bob is even lashing out at Judge Vonda Evans, accusing her of siding with the prosecution.
Here's the thing. The judge is as crooked as can be.
To those that question my methods and my techniques, I understand. I'm not here to please anyone. I'm here to be a tool of justice.
He accuses Judge Evans of getting caught up in the kinky sex talk and not sticking with the facts.
She allowed the prosecution to parade 8 or 10 quote-unquote lifestylers before the jury. And there was no focus on the crime scene, the evidence, They're absolutely complicitous with the prosecution.
I had been 18 years a judge, had many high-profile cases, but nothing prepared me for the national coverage that this case received. At points, I felt I was on trial with the way that I dressed, the way that I said things to Mr. Bashara, just the way that I handled myself.
And you can say, hey, I've got sour grapes, I'm blaming everyone else. All these different things add up to wrongful conviction.
There was a request to recuse me as the judge. And he, through his attorney, indicated that no, he wanted me to preside over this case.
But Judge Evans says the right man is behind bars.
I couldn't let the media or anyone else take me off my focus, and that was the pursuit of justice. It was assuring that Bob Bashara had a fair trial and that Jane's story could be told.
We pressed Bob to tell us Jane's story and why anyone would possibly want to kill her. But Master Bob, the master manipulator, turned the conversation right back to himself.
So you're saying you are the victim in this situation?
Well, no, my wife is truly the victim, okay? Because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I become the victim.
We were left scratching our heads with more questions than answers. And then Bob was done.
I certainly appreciate your time. Again, I am going to fight until I can fight no more, okay? Until my eyes bleed, my hands are raw, and I take my last breath. Because I'm an innocent man wrongly convicted.
At the end of it all, as sensational as this case is, Judge Evans says a woman is dead and her friends and family are left mourning.
Many individuals who saw the trial were saddened. They were angered. But hopefully there'll be lives that will be changed so that we don't ever, me or any other judge, ever has to see another Jane Bashara.
Bob tells us his attorneys are already planning to appeal Judge Evans' decision. We'll be front row center for that hearing, that's for sure.